Well, hello and welcome to the latest edition of India Ideas. This is the show which is all about science and technology, innovation and entrepreneurship. Today, we're talking about fantasy sports, which is a sector which has seen tremendous 212% CAGR growth from 2016 to 2019, if you consider its users, and there's room for a lot more tremendous revenue growth as well. About how's that happening and what is the scope, to what extent are the players themselves aiming? How high are they aiming? Really, we're finding that out today. We have Bhavat Sheth with us, co-founder and COO, Dream Sports and Dream 11. Vineet Godara is also with us, co-founder and CEO, My Team 11. And Akhil Suhag is also with us, founder and CEO, Fan Fight. First, to you, Bhavat, because clearly you're quite ahead in the game as far as having a strong user base concerned, strong revenue. You were title sponsors for IPL as well in 2019. That was quite amazing. But just tell us, how did this journey start and how have you become the big daddy of fantasy sport in India?
Yeah, so it's been 12 years since we've been at it, right? Fantasy sports. And when we started off close to 2008, IPL was it had just about started. It was in its second season. Me and my co-founder Harsh, both of us being fantasy football fans, knew, how engaging fantasy sports is in general. And we wanted to play fantasy cricket, which we couldn't find a good product to play for IPL. So it was more of a personal problem that we wanted to solve back then. And we were like, why don't we get into this and why don't we start fantasy sports? And so that's when the journey began. And I won't take you through the entire journey. It's a very long story, but to cut the long story short, the initial version we started off with didn't see traction at all. We did a few pivots and finally we came up to this version that we have today in around 2012. And this version of fantasy sports, which is more of a daily fantasy sports version, where you can create a team for a specific match, and through the match see how your team performs, and at the end of the match whether you've won or lost. That picked up traction. We saw a lot of user retention growth through this model, so we continued at it. And 2014 end was the first time that we got funded Series A funding. And people who've been following us know that it's been quite a journey to get that first round of funding, because we pitched to over 150 odd investors, hearing no every time. And what we did is we actually looked at it as a learning opportunity, right? So every time we heard a no, we went back, we did a check of, what the feedback was, how could we improve, how could we pitch better next time. And finally, we got our first set of investors, Kalari and Think Investments, in late 2014. And that's when we had around 300,000, 3 lakh odd users. Since then, it's been quite a journey in the next 6 years to move from 3 lakh to 100 million, which is 10 crore users today. And at the core has obviously been our passion to create a world-class product for our users. And over the years, educating users on what fantasy sports is all about. When we started off, people used to say that, okay, I've created a team. Now, how do I make my batsman bat and a bowler bowl? And we had to explain to them that that's not the concept, right? It's more of a strategy game. It's more of, sports engagement platform where you create your team, wait for the match to start, see how your team performs during the match. And obviously, there's a lot of data and strategy that goes into creating the team. Yeah. So in short, I would say that is the journey. It's been a while, but I think finally we are getting to a place where we've been able to convert a lot of passive sports fans into active sports fans now.
Wonderful. That's a great journey. But some would say that yours has been a high risk, high reward kind of a journey as well. You've spent a lot and through that gained a lot of users as well. You've had these fantastic valuation rounds. The last one was $225 million, and your valuation itself has gone up above $2.5 billion. You became a unicorn even earlier. So this particular model where you getting a large chunk of the market and thereby growing, you feel that this is the way to go for the future as well?
Yeah, so first of all the numbers that you spoke about are just speculation because we've not released any of the numbers. So, but yeah, the strategy has always been to be strong on a unit economic level. As you said, yes, we've been spending a lot marketing, user acquisition, but at the core, we know that the users we are acquiring are users that are going to pay us back eventually. So the focus has always been on making sure that we have those strong unit economics and not just burning money without any returns, right? um, and coming to the point of there, India is a large, as in cricket is a religion in India, right? So we have a large addressable market,
Mm.
and we've been going after that market. What has helped us is the internet penetration, people becoming more smartphone savvy, availability of smartphones becoming better, and that's helped us kind of turbo boost the growth. And so we've been trying to leverage that and keep on growing users, trying to target that, at least the low hanging 700 odd million people who
Okay.
watch cricket today.
Okay, okay. Now, Vineet, your approach has been a little different, a little more conservative, being bootstrapped. Tell us about your journey, your approach, and you're also growing quite impressively.
Yeah, that's right. Uh, the story behind the idea of fantasy sports is almost same as Bhavit said. Me and Sanjeev, we are both are cricket fans, and we were watching match of India versus Australia, in which India lost the game.
That
The
happens.
day me and Sanjeev were very sad, and we thought that some kind of we should start something like that. That user or sports fan get more engaged. Uh, Apart from India or Australia, they think about their own team. And at that time, me and Sanjeev, we were not aware that fantasy sports even exist in India. I'm talking about 2015. And in 2016, we launched My Team 11. And yeah, that's right. I guess we are the only company in top five, which is bootstrap. And it's just because of our team and our strategy, which is more innovative and more user satisfaction. We work more on user satisfaction.
Hmm.
Uh, right now, we are second biggest fantasy sports company in India with overall, I guess, 18 million users, more than 18 million users.
Okay, great. And Akhil, where are you? Because I believe that among all our panelists, yours is the newest and the youngest company, and Fine Fight has its own journey as well, and it is trying to make its own space in a market which is now getting a bit crowded. There are estimates that there are over 140 plus fantasy sports platforms in the country now. At one time, there were about just a handful.
Yeah, we started early 2016, but the current version where we launched for users was mid 17. Surprisingly, we started as a football only app. Like our first MVP product was football only, and it was not the format that we know now. It was more around snake drafts, weekly snake drafts that we started to. I was in college, and it was sort of something we made for our friends in college, friends and family in college. And that is how it started from there. We had the wrong hypothesis that we knew football was growing, but it wasn't growing as quickly, or it wasn't as big as, of course, cricket is. So that is when we pivoted to cricket, and then subsequently the regulations and stuff made us pivot to the same format that we see right now. So it's been a good 5 years of changing and chopping and moving around. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, we'll talk about the regulations a little later, but let me first understand in terms of the technology itself here, that perhaps is the key to how much traction does each platform get. And Bhavat, just tell us how you leveraging that to ensure that the kind of growth that you've had in the first place and the fact that you expand even more in the coming season, 2021 is going to be very, very promising.
Yes, as I just alluded to in my initial conversation, also was that what we want to do is make sure that we create a product which is world class, right? And to do that, we have to have a strong technology behind it, especially when we are running at the scale that we are at. And we see a huge number of users coming in, a lot of concurrency, especially close to the match start time. And building the technology the right way, and making sure that the product is glitch free, users have a seamless experience, is key to having the kind of growth that we've had as well. um, Apart from that, yes, we need to also invest a lot into making sure that we are using the data the right way. There's a lot of AI systems that we built in, like the contest that we put out, for users to join. They're all and there are millions of contests that are there, right, every match. So it's not possible to manually generate all those contests. So we have to invest in an AI system which actually recognizes what kind of contests need to be put out. There are different different number of users, different entry amounts that come out, and winning templates. So all of that, we've invested a lot into it, and we've built a system now that I can say has evolved over the last 5 7 years, and we keep on evolving it. um, and that is definitely going to be key to growing further, as we grow larger and have more scale, more concurrency. That's something that we are focusing a lot on.
Hmm. And Vineet, is that something that you're also focusing on in a similar manner in terms of getting the best user experience out there? At the same time, ensuring that the issue of security is also well taken care of, because there are a lot of people, especially people in the tech business, who say that fantasy sports is in a way tailor made for people who want to, defraud people, cyber criminals who simply want to go after the money, and there is money involved.
See, if there is money involved in each and every business, this kind of risk is always involved, because there are so many people who want to do fraud and do illogical things. For that, you need to make your platform that much secure that these things not happen. Yeah, there are some frauds always keep on going, like a single user login with 10 IDs and play like that. Yeah, that's a challenge, and we are, I guess, we are doing or fighting back good enough. Also, if we talk about user satisfaction, we is surveys time by time what users want, what can we do for our users, what they like, what they don't like, and on behalf of that, we keep changing like our leagues and everything.
Okay, okay. So one has to really be, on your toes to be dodging people who are trying to do all kinds of funny stuff on different platforms. But Akhil, just tell us what has been your approach as far as the use of technology is concerned to give the best experience to the users and ensure that you build an ecosystem as well that adds to the platform, not just in terms of the user experience, but users as well. That's what you need at this stage, perhaps.
But I think technology is very underappreciated, especially a lot of new players come in and they don't really understand how important technology becomes to handle the kind of scale that a full-fledged fantasy platform would have to handle, especially say 10 minutes before the match when everyone is on the platform trying to edit and create a team. So fantasy platforms handle scale at a very different level because it's all concentrated in that part. And
Yes.
a lot of the challenge has been uh, how to handle that scale
Okay.
predominantly. And
Mhm.
then you're correct. You need to build for retention. You need to build for a lot of analytic support where what part of the product is working, what is not, how do you change that, what user behavior do you want to drive, which again, a lot of numbers and AI that goes into figuring out what happens there. And yeah, fraud has been a challenge from day one. Every time you solve for something, something new, users tend to find a new way to get around it. So it's again a lot of machine learning around, do people have multiple accounts? Are the same people playing in the same contest? How are your contests driving? So it's not a very ops heavy industry. Finally, you don't need people running around. It's 100 to 100 people running, sitting in a room and running it, which makes it very tech heavy. So everyone there, mostly the biggest teams, I think in each three of us is tech and then probably marketing.
Okay, let me just ask also about, what happened during the COVID phase, because I'm sure it was very tough. There was no live sport happening. And then when it did start, I believe there was an explosion. Tell us about that, Bhavit.
Yeah, so I think mid-March, early April, when the COVID hit all of us, um, live sports almost stopped, right? So it was literally maybe one tournament going on somewhere in the world, and because we rely on live sports, our business was at the lowest it's ever been. But we took a call that we'll just ride through this phase, and we had the luxury of doing that because we had the money in the bank. But what we did is we said we'll ride through this phase, and we'll make sure that our systems are well prepared once everything gets back to normal. So we took the 3 months, 4 months to clear out all the technical debt that we had, things that we always wanted to do, put better systems, processes in place, maybe do more security audits. You alluded to security as well in your previous question. So, we did a lot of that cleanup, which we would have not gotten to done if things were normal, because everything runs so fast. We just have to run with the flow. And it's, for us, it's very tournament based. So if IPL is coming, we have to be prepared for IPL. It's not that we can get the dates of IPL shifted, right? So IPL is in April. You have to get things ready for April, and we took that approach. And then once things became a little back to normal, and obviously IPL came in September, we saw a huge uplift in users coming back to the platform. Uh, it's yet been a weird year, right? Now it's been weird because it's not that everything's come back to normal. There are some series that happen, some series that don't happen. Recently, Australia pulled out of the tour to South Africa. There are some tournaments that start off, get cancelled due to COVID. So it's not back to normal yet, but it's looking much better than what it was, April to September last year.
Certainly, that it is. Vineet, even in your case in COVID, I believe that you had to expand your portfolio in order to, just get some business rolling in. At the same time, I read somewhere that you were pretty resolute that you will not let people go, and you managed to, get through that phase, and now things are much better.
Yeah, that's right. As Bhavit said, it was the time when we worked on our technology and our security to make them more strong. When COVID was started, it was just like a scary movie which was about to start. But as I said, we are more on, we are keep doing some innovations, and we did the same in COVID also. We launched quiz after 5 days of lockdown. Within 5 days, our team launched quiz. This is the only platform which had quiz in, if you talk about fantasy companies. And meanwhile, we were also together in FIFS also, we were looking for a country which was not under lockdown. And finally, we found Taiwan, and we organized a cricket series in Taiwan in
Great.
April 2020.
Wonderful.
Apart from that, when other companies were firing, we were hiring. We hire around 100% more people in COVID time only. As I told you, to make our technology and security more strong. It was good, but IPL 2020 changed everything, and things are getting back normal. As we have in this 2020, we are having 2021 IPL, World Cup, T20 World Cup is there, Euro Cup is there. So a lot of sports is coming back, and we are happy.
Great. And what is your COVID slash lockdown story, Akhil? How did Fan Fight cope with it, and how's it doing now?
Pretty similar. It was a shock to the system, but gave us time to focus on the product and stuff like that. And we were pretty sure sports will come back. It's not that it's gone. So it's just, can you ride out the next 4 5 months? And we knew there would be some pent up demand as well, where people have been away from sports for a bit. So which we saw in our IPL 2020 numbers, that we really did much better than expected.
Great,
Uh,
wonderful. Now,
now,
Bharat, the other issue that the sector or the industry has is with regulation, because there's no dearth of court orders that say that fantasy sports is about skill and not about chance. But then you have state governments that even have circumvented court orders to ban uh, clubbing fantasy sports with online gaming. So, where are you on this particular aspect? Because now Niti Aayog is saying that we need to, have one set of rules for the entire country and perhaps an independent regulator in place as well. They've floated that out. We're still to see any further movement on it.
Yeah, so as you rightly said, there are multiple high courts as well as the Supreme Court that have said that, this is a game of skill, protected under the Constitution. But yes, the reality is that it's a statewide subject, right? It's similar to if Gujarat decides to ban liquor, they decide to ban liquor. And I think the problem we are facing is that there's lack of understanding of what we are doing, because it's such a new concept, and we've been trying to go and educate regulators, but yes, there have been some states that have taken an adverse view, but again, we've gone there, we've started discussions, and initial discussions are very positive about, oh, we didn't even know that this existed, right? So a lot of times, if you read a lot of things, they take decisions where they don't even know fantasy sports as an industry exists. They're looking at it from a broader view, and because the language is such, it just pulls fantasy sports along with it, right? And that's one of the things that we've been working very aggressively on is going and educating regulators about fantasy sports, about how the entire product works, what is the potential, and we've been working with Niti Aayog for a while now, and they understand that, and that's why they've through our conversations understood that they needed to get out these draft guiding principles, which would then guide different states on, okay, these are some principles that you can regulate by, rather than just banning an entire industry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of work going on, and it's similar to just getting the perception shifted. Like 15 years ago,
Yes.
if you had spoken about the stock market, people would have said ki ye to jua hai, right? And today it's the temple of our economy, right? So it's about just getting over that curve, and once we get over that curve, I think things will be better, and we'll be well placed for growth. So we are in
Okay.
that phase where we need to go out, talk to regulators, educate them, and make them understand, because
Mm-hmm.
see, with the internet booming and booming very fast, there have been a lot of business models that have been built out, and I don't blame the regulators, because it's not possible for them to keep up with all of it. So probably it's our responsibility then to go and educate them, and that's
Okay.
what we are doing now.
Okay. Where are you on this, Vineet, in terms of what Niti Aayog has proposed that there should be an independent regulator and a set of guidelines, or there is an FIFS charter already, but something that is more perhaps enforceable, that will be uniform across the country, and then it will not be at the mercy of different state governments.
Yeah, that's right. As Bhavit said, we are on same platform. We are all are working together. We all are part of FIFS. There are 30 or 30 to 40 companies who are member of FIFS, and FIFS is leading this path, talking to regulators, making them understand. The only problem is that uh, it's lack of knowledge that, as Bhavit said, that we may need to make them understand that this is not game of chance, this is game of skill, this is not gambling, how this is different. So all these things we are doing under FIFS.
Mm-hmm. And very quickly, your views on this particular subject as well, Akhil.
It's a new business model. It's a new industry. It's not something they've seen before. So it's understood that they are struggling to understand what's going on here. And I think with FIFS and other steps, we are doing the best that we can to bring this to their attention. Hopefully, it goes in the right direction. We've seen some very positive steps in terms of Niti Aayog and all of that. But yeah, it's one step at a time, changing and making people understand what we are about.
Great. And of course, when you talk about the future, there is tremendous potential. Even Niti Aayog has talked about it. There is, of course, a lot of debate on whether you should bring in advertising on board as well. And maybe that is possible in the freemium model, where if people are playing for free, then there will be ads, and if they go premium, then there won't be. Is there scope for that? And what are the other avenues for growth, including esports, Bhavit?
Yes, there's scope for everything, right? It's for us, Dream 11. We've taken a call to have a clean ad-free model. For us, even the people who are playing free, rather than showing them ads, if we could actually see if we could convert them from free to paid, that would be better for us. But yes, definitely, ad is a very good model because of the kind of engagement that we see on the platform, right? The number of users, the engagement. But for us, Dream Sports, what we've looked at doing is look outside fantasy sports, look
Okay.
at other businesses in the ecosystem, as you rightly alluded to, esports being one of them.
And Vineet, where do you lie on this? As far as future business is concerned, esports, strategic ties with people, brands who want to somehow come in, but you also, I believe, do not want to compromise on the user experience part.
Yeah, that's right. As I told you, after the live sport return and especially during IPL 2020, the kind of response we saw was very promising uh, because the restrictions on spectators, the importance of fantasy sports, which engages user much more, is also very promising. Even our Union Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs, also Mr. Kiran Rijiju, mentioned that making it evident that the government has recognized that the fact of online fantasy sports platform are playing a key role in economy and the growth of the sports in the country.
That's great. That's great. Because that is what we should aim for, right? Have more sports being played in the country, and if fantasy sports can back that, Akhil, nothing like it. Have a symbiotic relationship there going.
Yeah, we've actually seen with fantasy sports, newer leagues are being telecasted. I think it's driven more by fantasy sports because people are following more matches because they are playing on a Dream 11 or a Fan Fight or a My Team 11. So they want to see what's actually happening on the field. There is growing interest in different sports, even in cricket, smaller leagues. We've seen those increase on our platforms as well, the amount of participation in those leagues. So overall, I think it's brilliant for the growth of sports in the country.
Great. That is a great note to sign off, and thank you all, for coming and talking to DD India about your particular sector. And I hope that the regulatory issues get sorted out, and we see more of fantasy sports and more sports happening in India because of that as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
जल्दी करो यार